The McDonald's snack wrap is back. You brought it back. Ranch snack wrap. Spicy snack wrap. You broke the internet. For a snack. Snack wrap is back. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Gatorade is the #1 proven electrolyte blend designed to hydrate better than water. So you can lose more sweat and raise your game. Gatorade, is it in you?
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold! Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
I'm always looking for ways to show my cat how much I love her. And with Fancy Feast gems, I can pamper her whenever I want with a savory gravy on top of a gourmet mousse pâté. The pyramid shape makes serving simple, so all I have to do is peel and plate to make mealtime feel extra fancy. And with 2 entrees in every pack, it's easy to turn every day into the extraordinary. Fancy Feast gems.
It's Sunday, hot outside. We got the rubber match for the Crosstown series going on right now. I call it the Red Line series, but it is what it is. The Bulls had some news. They extended your boy, Billy Donovan.
As they should have. When you've instilled a culture of winning, as Billy Donovan has, you clearly deserve to get extended. And I believe that's an extension of the extension. With all the winning and player development Billy Donovan has done for this organization, has he now become an all-time Bulls coach? Is he right under Phil Jackson?
That's a good question. How long has Billy been in Chicago? He's coming up close on 10 years, right?
Not quite. Year 6, I want to say. He got here a year before COVID. So 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. This would be his 6th or 7th year.
Getting close. Phil Jackson was only the Bulls coach for 9 years, right?
That sounds about right. All through all first 8 years of the 90s, and then I think last year of the 80s. He might have had a 10. He might have, yeah, because that was Doug Collins when they first got beat by the Pistons in the Eastern Conference Finals, right? That was Doug Collins' team. That's when Jordan had the ball in his hands all the time.
Mm-hmm. As Collins demanded. That's his boy.
How else would you be able to get all those triple doubles in a row and score 37 a game and have 35 in 8 seasons like that?
Got to stat pad sometime, man. I don't knock it.
That's how you build a GOAT.
No.
You have to stat pad in the years you don't win titles.
So when is Billy Donovan going to start building his stat pad and GOAT?
Stat padding?
Josh Giddey?
It's definitely Giddey. Giddey's putting up a nice empty triple-double type numbers. That ball ain't leaving Giddey's hands, especially if they do move Kobe White. I haven't been on the Bulls pod, but there's some interesting trade rumors about Kobe to the Timberwolves, though. Next time I join basketball, we'll discuss those.
This is the first I'm hearing of this, but it's interesting. But anyway, man, Billy Donovan gets to stay in Chicago. He doesn't have to put his house up for sale no time soon. It's football season now. Basketball don't come back until the Scorpio season. Bears have had camp for a full week now. Q, what's your macro takeaway so far from what the Bears have gotten done in this 1 week of short practices, about not even 2-hour long practices, but what's the main takeaway you've gotten out of week 1?
The Bears have instilled panic. People are ready to jump off the cliff and declare Caleb Williams a bust because he threw interceptions to TJ Edwards and Tremaine Edmonds. Never mind the fact that he's learning a new offense, and this is when you want the mistakes to happen. And defenses are ahead of offenses at this point in camp. But yeah, we're ready to draft Arch Manning next year and give Tyson Badgett the reins. That's what we've established.
Because everything I hear is Tyson Badgett has looked like the best quarterback on the team this week.
He's great. Making quarterbacks great again. Badgett. Never mind that he's actually, well, he might have been saved by Case Keenum going on the NFI, but he was in a battle for his roster spot because he was splitting those tools in OTAs. The T-baggers.
They're going to come out in full force for their boy if Caleb's will start having some more showings like he had on Saturday. But yeah, that seems to be the large noise coming out of Lake Forest. And that's what they're picking up on in the national media, is that the offensive struggles. What's going on with Ben Johnson's offense? Why is he yelling at everybody? Why is he throwing Caleb? Well, not throwing Caleb out of practice. I think I heard that a few times. Like, no one's getting thrown out of practice.
No one got thrown out of practice.
It was just exactly. It's a 90-minute practice, as Ben Johnson did illustrate to people on day 2. Like, we only got 90 minutes per the CBA. So if the first string can't get things together, I gotta get second guys up because they gotta get their reps in, right? As a supervisor is supposed to do. You gotta spin a lot of hats. You gotta make sure everybody's getting their work in. Yeah, I don't like the narrative that's been put out there so far, but in any case, there's more important stuff to talk about. More like the injuries. I want to start back on what we talked about, the main injury from last episode that we did. Jalen Johnson. As Ryan Post said, he's week to week, which means he probably is going to miss all of training camp.
That's what it sounds like.
Week to week means, because week to week to me sounds like a month at minimum.
Yeah.
But that means Zah Frazier, as you spoke about in the last episode, that means he's up. But Zah Frazier, he's been missing in action too. Have you heard?
Yeah, the guy who's been starting opposite Tyreek Stevenson has been Nashawn Wright. Former 3rd-round pick, 6'4". Dennis Allen loves those tall corners. I believe the Bears signed a veteran, Trey Flowers, who's a journeyman, been around the league at a few different spots, a couple different AFC teams. So that's where we're at right now. Yeah, there's a lot of soft tissue injuries going around. I mean, it's camp. Guys working out hard in the off season. I mean, the NFL off season is long, but just because you're not playing games doesn't mean you're training. And when you're training hard, it's kind of a delicate balance between, training hard and building your body up. And sometimes you have soft tissue injuries and a little breakdown. So yeah, we got a couple of injuries.
To quote Grady Jarrett, callous the body. And before we go too far, I hope he means that. I hope he's not callousing the body the same way Moises Alou is famously calloused his hands. There's a lot of allegations around this team, and that's another one I do not want to have to defend. I got to defend this team enough.
Well, what you do for your own personal hygiene is of no concern to me. If you need to piss on yourself, Moises Alou was a good player, a very good player for a long time, especially with the Astros. And when he came here, even though he was a little bit older, he was still a very good player. You remember the 2003 team? That was one of my favorite teams, by the way. It didn't end the way we wanted to end, but man, I love that team with Pryor Woods and Brano. Enough of memory lane. But hopefully Grady Jarrett isn't peeing on other people to callous them.
Yeah, Chicago got a bad reputation with peeing.
We don't need anybody else who pees on other people. No, we're not here to kink shame either. No kink shaming.
What you do behind closed doors with consenting adults?
Adult.
Keyword consent. Adults. It's I don't care. Be merry, right? But moving past that and Jalen Johnson, and out of the secondary altogether, let's talk about what's going on with the left tackles. He came into camp fully understanding that there was a three-way battle for number one. Between Ozzy Trapillo, who was one of this year's second-round picks, longtime starter Braxton Jones, and last year's third-round draft pick Kyra Amagaji.
It sounds like Ozzy's running away with it, to be honest with you. I mean, if I were a betting man right now, I would say week one, the starter's going to be Ozzy Trapillo. I mean, your best availability is your best ability is your availability. He's available. He's young. He's spry. He's a huge man, a huge man. Um, and all the reports from him and the coaching staff are absolutely glowing. Now, as you pointed out last week, you hear so much noise during the offseason, during the pre-draft process, during pre-training camp process, during training camp. You know, you hear so many guys getting praised. But, man, the coaching staff seems to go out of their way to praise Ozzy. And unlike Kyron Amagachi and Braxton Jones, they're both Poles guys. Ozzy Trapillo is a Poles and Ben Johnson guy. So, I mean, they keep praising how well he has picked up the playbook, how well his work ethic is, and you're just not hearing the same thing resonate from Kyron Amagachi. So, and the thing you hear about Braxton Jones is he's still ramping up. Now, this is early in training camp, but you got to remember games are going to start soon, and then training camp is going to start winding down. Braxton Jones doesn't have that many sessions to impress in the team structure. You know, you're going to have preseason games, you're going to have some more sessions, but these are the times you got to be out here. These first 2 or 3 weeks of training camp, these are when positions are won or lost, especially in battles. I just find it hard to believe, unless Braxton gets out there by next week, that he's got enough time to compete for this job. Now, if this was Eberflus and that staff returning that's familiar with Braxton Jones, I would say there's a chance. But right now, I feel like Ozzy is kind of running away with it.
I do want to clarify that. For me, if I would ask the question to myself, I would say, yes, I think Ozzy is in the lead just based on him being out there with the ones when they're doing 11 on 11s and that type of stuff. But Braxton, he's been the one out there when they're doing install. They're doing the walkthroughs. Braxton's been out there with the ones during that.
He's been with the ones during walkthroughs. Oh, okay. I didn't hear that. That is a very important tidbit of information.
Got that from Courtney Cronin. Shout out to her.
Does very great work
for ESPN at that. Just hearing that tells me that he's still in the lead for day one. If he was healthy, I have no doubt in my mind that he would be out there doing 11 on.
Well, hearing that, I do believe that Braxton is in the lead. With that information, yeah. I feel like Braxton is still, even though they declare it an open battle, I feel like Braxton is still the incumbent, and it's basically, if you can get your ass on this field in time, it's your job.
But that goes two ways too, right? It could signal that he's the guy that they feel is in the lead. He's the more ready to go right now player, even though he's not healthy per se. Or it could say that they are giving him a little bit of respect since he has been the starter for so long. It doesn't necessarily. So it could be that they view him as the leader, or that they say, all right, the other guys are still building up to that spot, to take your spot. Oh, or just like this, they're putting him out there doing walkthroughs because maybe some familiarity. And I don't know how much familiarity he would have with 3 new offensive linemen and Darnell Wright missing, he having a rest day on Friday, I believe that was.
Yeah.
So you're really only familiar with Caleb and Swift.
I think it could be all the above. Like you said, it could be a sign of respect, but can also be a sign of what he's already accomplished in this league. Braxton Jones, no, he's not. I wouldn't say he's the ideal dream left tackle that you would say, this is the guy I want protecting my franchise quarterback. But at the end of the day, Braxton Jones is 4 seasons deep in the NFL as a starter. and he's not Bernard Robinson, who was protecting Jay Cutler years ago. He's not a bottom tier left tackle. He's not a top tier left. He's somewhere in the middle. He's a guy that I think at least 10 teams in the NFL will be comfortable starting right now. So Braxton has done a lot of good work in the NFL. He does have his weaknesses, but in pass protection, he's been pretty solid. Now, he does struggle against bull rushes. He's not a guy who's going to necessarily move people in the run game, but Braxton is you understand where the floor is with Braxton Jones. The floor is it's at a good level, the floor. Now, the ceiling isn't very high, but you know what you're getting out of Braxton. So at the end of the day, Ozzy is a young guy who's making a transition left tackle. And I don't want to say he's a project, but he's a guy that's developing. Left tackle is an extremely difficult position in the NFL. And it's a lot of responsibility put on a rookie at that. So I think in an ideal situation, Ozzy would be able to sit and at least develop the first year and then take over for Braxton next year and just be the guy who is the swing tackle right now. In case anything happens to Braxton or Darnell Wright, he could take over at either spot because he's familiar with right tackle as well.
So left tackle is going to still be a work in progress. What about a position battle that we probably didn't think was going to happen coming into camp? What's going on in the backfield? Because I'm hearing a lot of praise for your boy, the 7th round pick.
Menungai.
A lot of people say he's faster than what the 40 he ran. He's got game speed. You know what I'm saying? Like, his speed doesn't translate to when he's underwear, but his speed is very noticeable when he's in pads. Well, at least when he's in, on the field. You still got Roschon Johnson, who everyone's saying from reports, he looks right now
rookie version
like the Roschon that they assumed to have coming out of Texas. Yeah. And then you got DeAndre Swift. We all know what to expect from DeAndre Swift. Do you think this should be an open position battle as well, first and foremost?
Well, I think with the running back situation, I think we're truly going to have a committee. Ben Johnson's heaped ton of praise on DeAndre Swift. And DeAndre Swift, one of the advantages he's had coming into camp is he's familiar with the Ben Johnson offense. So the things you've heard about him is he's very prepared. You haven't heard any mistakes. But the surprising thing is Kyle Menungai has seemed to embrace the playbook and got his mental reps in when he's not in there. And the Kyle Menungai love, I think that's pretty easy to understand. I don't know if you watched any of the Rutgers tape, but he's very similar to a back that Ben Johnson loved in Detroit. He is carbon copy of David Montgomery running style. Short, compact, more quick than fast. David Montgomery didn't time well in the 40 either, but David Montgomery and Kyle Menungai are both kind of sneaky elusive. If you give them they could turn the corner. They're not going to be running away from people like Chris Johnson, obviously, but yeah, Menungai, very similar to David Montgomery. It's not hard to see that he's going to have a meteoric rise because I think he gives Ben Johnson a sense of familiarity and what he wants to do in between the tackles, especially when you're getting in the red zone or short yardage situation. So there is a real path for Kyle Menungai to usurp carries from both Swifty and Roschon. So I think all running backs look good. Yeah, I've seen Roschon in a couple drills. He looks quick and light. I think he's dropped some weight too, I believe.
Well, Kyle Menungai, he's a Big Ten product. Even though he fell to the 7th round, he did lead the Big Ten in rushing. I don't know if I don't think it was this past year. I think it was the year before last. But he led the Big Ten in rushing, back-to-back 1,200-yard seasons. He's got and he played in the offense, as you said, at Rutgers, where he was pretty much a bell cow. So you're gonna want to monitor his snaps anyway. Well, monitor his carries because everybody's not built up to be Derrick Henry. With that said, the Bears could have a very talented backfield. Kyle Menungai, and I don't want to glaze, and I don't want to do the saucing up stuff. that we tend to do. A lot of content creators tend to do with their draft picks. Cal Menungai, he has the pedigree to be at least have a feature role in a committee. We thought the same thing of Roshan. Roshan is now, he's back healthy. Given his concussion issues he had the last year. If he can reach that potential, and Cal Menungai can be sort of what he has been his whole career in Rutgers, and then you had DeAndre Swift. I mean, that is a leap. That is, we thought this offense had too many mouths to feed before. Now you add that little caveat in there too.
Yeah, and elaborating on your point, not to sauce it up. I don't think we're saucing Kyle Menungai. Yeah, I know he's a late round draft pick, but we also got to take into account that running backs, they've been devalued, even though we did see two go in the first round this year. And you talked about pedigree. Kyle Menungai, I think the part of when you look at the Kyle Menungai story, and why he fell to the seventh round. As you said, he didn't time well in the 40. Even though he comes from a Big Ten school, he comes from Rutgers. Now that's not a school that gets maybe all the scout eyes in the Big Ten. So that's another reason he could have failed. And also speaking to him positively, Isaiah Pacheco was his teammate at Rutgers early on. Yeah, he actually came in. He was behind Pacheco. Pacheco was also a seventh round pick. And you see how he's done for the Chiefs when he's healthy. So when I see Kyle Menungai, he's been productive coming out of the same team, same offense, same program Pacheco did. I do have confidence that Menungai can come in right now and be effective. I don't think we're saucing him up because every year there's guys who are late round picks who every training camp, every podcaster, every city is talking about a late round pick right now or an undrafted guy. And those guys will kind of fade as the season starts. Some won't even make the team. I don't know if you remember, but last year, Reddy Stewart, the corner, I think he had 2 pick sixes last year. Not even on the team this year. He's in Minnesota camp, and I think he was on there. I think he got signed to their active roster last year, and then is on there. He's back in their camp, but I think he was on our practice. Well, whatever the case, I think Kyle Menungai is a little different. I think this is the late round pick who has some value, and honestly, he could be the guy who he might be of the offensive rookies we picked. He could be in line for as big of a role as any of them.
Definitely, when you add in all of the rookies that we got, Colston Loveland, Luther Bowden, you obviously assume there's going to be not just a role for them, but they're going to be packages for those guys.
Speaking of Colston Loveland, he's also having a very good camp. I mean, Cole Kmet's going to get pushed.
Reading the tea leaves, Cole Kmet wasn't a favorite, right? But Colston Loveland, I think his first practice was Friday.
I heard good things about it.
He had finally showed up. He finally showed up. He's healthy. He's got 3 catches on that first official practice day.
No, yeah, it's training camp. Everything is wonderful, but I do think that there is something to be said that coaches are going out of the way to praise some of these rookies. Of course, this is Ben Johnson's first rookie class. He's got to get behind those guys, but maybe this is just going to be a tremendous rookie class.
You would love to see
that. I would love to see Hippolyte and Menungai and Loveland, Trapillo all live up to this hype and lead the Bears into next wave of glory years.
We expect to see a package of plays for Burton, Colston, high draft pick guys, and you expect to see Shamar rotating in, making his presence known at least. But if we can get guys like Cal Menungai into the mix where he's getting where he's got I don't want to go as far as to say he's got his own package, but he's got his own downs and responsibilities and where you expect to see him in certain situations. That that would be a great draft. And I think everybody on our channel, Frustrated Chicago, we were all like, yeah, we like the draft, but we're not blown away by it. If after year one, we got guys 7th round pick all the way to the 1st round pick, they're making their presence known. We got to redo that. We got to come back and we got to give everybody their props.
Yeah,
Ben Johnson and Ryan Poles put their foot in it. If that's the
they
case,
really. I mean, it was a ballsy pick. That number 10 pick was a ballsy pick to take a tight end top 10, because how often do you see a tight end go top 10? You know, Kyle Pitts is the last one. Now, I loved Brock Bowers last year, but even I thought, and I would have loved to see him as a Bear. Even I thought 9 would have been kind of early to draft Brock Bowers. And remember, I was a big Brock Bowers fan dating back to Georgia. So it was a very ballsy pick. It's not something you see. But if Colston Loveland can live up to the hype, man, you have a 6'6" guy running down that'll be big. That'll be a big game changer for an offense.
You drafting Kyle Pitts in fantasy again this year?
You know what?
Just so I know for my notes.
Every year I fall for the Kyle hype. Things are sounding great. Michael Penix is going to find him. They're going to be more focused. I've got one more year for Kyle to make me look stupid. Ladies, I see how that man gets you pregnant 2 or 3 times and you keep bringing him back. I ain't no better than a woman. Kyle going to get me again. I mean, he's 6'6" and runs about a 4.4, 4.5 with soft hands and the agility of a wide receiver. You can't keep blaming me. All right? I'm shallow. He's gonna change. He's gonna change. He's gonna get back to bringing the flowers and doing all the little things that he did his rookie year. Yes, I'm drafting Kyle Pitts.
You built him up, Q. You built him up. Don't let some other owner reap the rewards of what you built.
I'm gonna build that man up. No, I'm not gonna let somebody else enjoy his prime once he gets his act together. Ladies, stick with that man. That is the theme of this episode. Ladies, stick with that man. He's gonna get it right. He's gonna be your fantasy hero.
Need a Garrett's popcorn break.
Welcome to Sephora. I'm looking for a perfume that's not too perfumey. I got you.
Serum moisturizer or moisturizer serum.
Let's get into layering. My concealer is making me look worse.
Sounds like the wrong shade. Let's get you matched.
There's only one store that really gets what you're going for. Get beauty from people who get beauty. Only at Sephora.
Hi, Let's get you a basket.
Today's top story, the flavor merger of the century between the Peanut Butter Group and Chocolatey Corp. Joining me is a PBC executive.
Thanks for having me, Barry.
Now, how did you know the merger and the byproduct of it, Jif peanut butter and chocolate flavored spread, would be a success?
You know, it was a gut feeling, a rumbling, if you will. Besides, they're two titans of taste.
Very true. Goes great with pretzels.
And pancakes.
Apples too, I bet. Try Jif PBC today.
Somebody else that I want everybody to stick beside through the ups and downs, your boy Caleb, and the rest of this office, but Caleb especially. Let's talk about him.
You're full of shit.
Right before camp opened, that photo went viral of him living his best life at a wedding or whatever. Got the corsage in his hair, sort of Tar Heel blue. Well, let's call it Chicago sky blue fingernail polish. And I gotta defend him again. I'm like, bro, Caleb, not right now.
Man, Caleb, not the corsage in the hair, bro. The fingernails was one thing. The corsage. Now you got to throw for 4,500 yards. You gotta go. You gotta go to the Pro Bowl now, bro.
Like, give me something to work with, man. I'm running out of my good stuff defending you. Just give me something to work with. Hey, I'm gonna need Pat Mahomes' first full season. I'm gonna need you to mirror that. I don't need you to put in work like that. But in any case, he living his best life, not bothering nobody. And then camp starts, and the word around town, Ben Johnson had to, throw him off the field because they couldn't get set up right, and he couldn't get set up right. The whole offense looks bad, and everyone's blaming Caleb. Woo wop the bam, blah blah blah, yeah, all this stuff. The next day comes around, more of the same stuff. Then he's getting picked off by T.J. Edwards, like you said. He's throwing balls into the dirt. Not the best start of camp. We reading is like, okay, it's camp. The defense is ahead of everybody. You don't have Luther Burden, who was expected to be there. Colson Loveland, who's expected to be there, is not there as well. Whatever. So whatever. You want to see growing pains, especially this early.
Don't
in
want to
camp.
see him
It's
on
a new
Monday night.
offense.
Let's get the mistakes out now.
Exactly. We're reading the headlines as whatever. Everybody else, on the other hand, they're not. He did have a very good day Saturday. What happened on Saturday? We need more Saturdays.
Saturday.
I know you agree. We need more Saturdays just for us. We want to see. Obviously, want to see him start going in that other direction where everything's clicking and then he takes off, right? But for me, selfishly, help me help you. I'm out here fighting the battles you can't fight. Help me help you. What happened Saturday?
I guess he did real well in 7-on-7s. As you said, is that Saturday is the day where he connected with Colston Loveland a couple times? Was that Colston Loveland? Okay, connected. I read some good stuff between him and Roma Dunze. That connection is happening. And from Ben Johnson's talk, Ben Johnson said, we're fine. We're right where we need to be. I'm going to trust the guy that's installing the offense and is called the offensive genius. And he said the details matter. What I get from Ben Johnson is he is a stickler for perfection. You're not going to be sloppy like under Eberflus. You're not going to be sloppy. So, and then the other thing is you want Caleb to see what he can get away with at this time. And Ben Johnson also said, Caleb, as you said, there was some incompletion balls in the dirt. He said they reviewed some film, and some of them is the receiver has to be at the spot faster. So I know an errant pass can look bad on the quarterback. Of course, it's going to go as an incompletion. Of course, if he throws the ball and nobody's there, it's going to look bad on him. But Ben Johnson said there was a couple times, I forget which receiver, where he could have ran the route cleaner, where he had to get to a spot faster. So, yeah, the sky's going to fall for people who are still in love with Justin Fields, who just didn't like Caleb Williams, or who have jumped on the Jaden Daniels bandwagon. So, but am I concerned? I'm not too concerned yet. Maybe as Tiffany said, I'm full of shit.
You're full of shit.
But no, I'm not too concerned yet. You got a young quarterback getting installed into a brand new offense. As you said, there's moving parts. And then you got to think about the other thing. Maybe Dennis Allen defense just deserves credit.
Raise the rudders! Raise the sails! Raise the sails!
Captain, an unidentified ship is approaching. Over.
Roger. Wait, is that an enterprise sales solution?
Reach sales professionals, not professional sailors. With LinkedIn ads, you can target the right people by industry, job title, and more. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Get started today at linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply.
Dennis Allen is one of the best defensive coordinators we've seen in the 2000s. He's one of the best in the business. He's had 5 different defenses in the top 10. Maybe the guy knows what he's doing. And you got to remember, before everything went to hell last year, the Bears defense was really highly esteemed. And now they're healthy. You got Brisker back, who we've talked about being a really high impact player. Bears defense is pretty much healthy. I don't believe anybody was out besides Jalen Johnson. And even then, without Jalen, we've seen them. Remember, he missed a lot of games 2 years ago. We've seen his defense be very good without Jalen Johnson. So at the end of the day, the Bears have a lot of high draft picks on that defense. It's not surprising to me that they're performing well. And I think a defensive install is much easier than an offensive install. Now, granted, I believe it was Ruben Hippolyte, the rookie, was saying that who's made a great transition. He said Dennis Allen does teach the cover four a little bit different, but it's just a little variation. It's a little cover two, cover four. They're pretty much the same. You know, you're it's not much different. You can be a safety and go to another team right now and pick up. You're going to have to learn the language and the calls, but cover four is cover four. So I'm not surprised that the defense is ahead. It should be. And maybe Dennis Allen defense deserves credit for playing well. They might do the same thing to J.J. McCarthy week one. We hope.
We know. But do you mean the cover 4 is different or the cover 3?
No, cover four is pretty much universal. You know how you're going to run it. But Ruben Hippolyte said there was just a little bit variation on maybe how far Dennis Allen wants guys to get into their drop, or how, when he wants them to start in their drop. Just little things Hippolyte said. But he said it's pretty much, cover four is cover four. He just ran just a little bit different. That's what I got from Hippolyte.
Yeah, because that's interesting because, as you say, cover 4 is cover 4. It's just really just protect your deep six. And if you read that from an offensive perspective, like, okay, I got my checks. I know they're just playing prevent, which is basically what cover 4 is. But they're doing it differently than you expected. It looks differently than what you expected to look. And that could throw you for a loop. Because, again,
Ben Johnson said, Dennis Allen defense is tough. So you got Caleb. They run a lot of disguise. He was talking about Montez Sweat came unblocked a couple times and what could have been sacks. But he also said there was a couple plays they blew dead where we saw Caleb's escapability last year, where Caleb would have escaped and extended a play, and it could have turned into a big play. But, it's Dennis Allen. All defense is not the ideal defense to want to go against when you're installing a new offense. They are tricky. And Dennis Allen, like I said, he's done this on a lot of defenses. They put a lot of guys on the line of scrimmage. You don't know who's dropping. That's probably what Hippolyte was referring to. So, yeah, cover 4 is cover 4, but Dennis Allen is a master of disguise. So you might not know. I mean, pre-snap, they might show you one thing, and then post-snap, you get something totally different. And a guy like Montez Sweat coming free testifies to how confusing Dennis Allen defense is, because that'd be the first guy you would block. He's on the line of scrimmage at defensive end, but when you got different guys in the A gap and in the B gap moving pre-snap, disguise coverages, disguise looks, disguise fronts, it's a lot to take in.
And I don't want to. Some of it, again, Caleb has been perfect. And some of it, I guarantee you, is some of his fault, because I definitely don't want to be accused of being.
You're full of shit.
However, but I'm going to go back to a couple of things that you said. First, you said Montez Sweat was getting through free. He was getting free rushes to Caleb. Well, free rushes to the quarterback, whoever that was at the time.
With a major selection of the looks your kiddos love, starting at just $4 in the Walmart app, a new school year means a stylish new them. Who knew? Find skater skirts and Crocs that say, I'm casual but cool. Sparkly sneakers that say, it's my classroom, you're just learning in it. And preppy polos that say, I'm the teacher's pet, even if they're mommy's menace at home. Find their favorite styles starting at just $4 in the app. The Walmart you thought you knew is now new.
Is that a little bit of concern for the offensive line, or is it just like, you know what, guys aren't wearing pads right now. Let's wait until they got pads on before we can start actually grading pass blocking?
Both, but again, this is early in the install. Ben Johnson said they're still ironing out details of protections. So something like Montez Sweat getting through might be a miscommunication in the offensive line, might be a miscommunication between the offensive line and the backs of tight ends. It's not ideal, but there's times where the offensive line has different responsibilities, and maybe a tight end and a running back are supposed to double team and end. So simple miscommunications. They are installing a completely new offense. I'm understanding. I'm not going to be sky is falling. I'm gonna say it's early in training camp. We haven't even got to the first preseason game yet. I'm gonna have lenience and say, um, is it a concern? I mean, of course, you want to be concerned. You want everything running fluidly. Is it time to panic? Not at all. It's early. This isn't Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs offense coming back after 7, 8 years under Andy Reid. You know, these are guys learning an offense for the first time. So there's going to be miscommunication. I'm glad they're getting it out the way now. And then you also heard that a lot of the pre-snap things and not getting lined up and not being in correct alignment got cleaned up. So we're seeing progress. As long as we're seeing progress, I'm okay. We watched the Matt Eberflus era. We watched 3 years of the same nonsense not get corrected, not get coached out of them. So I'm glad they're harping on the details. I'm glad guys are being pulled off the field and a big deal is being made. And like you said earlier, it's a 90-minute practice. It wasn't that he was thrown out. It They got pulled off the field. They were going to get pulled off the field anyways. The two's got to get in. So I think it was a little bit of theatrics, not on Ben Johnson, but just period theatrics because it ended bad. It's time to get the tools on.
That dichotomy between where Eberflus had this team and where what you're getting out of Ben Johnson right now. When Eberflus, when he was the coach of the squad, and he had issues of what's happening on the field, what did they do? Stop practice and let's talk about it, and that type of coaching, which I don't have a problem with. I don't have a problem with that. But then you got the whole opposite of what Ben Johnson does. You do something wrong, stop practice. Fact, I'm gonna drill it out of you right now. Right now, ain't gonna be no talking about it like, all right, we're gonna do an on the field film study. No, I'm gonna drill it out of you, and I might curse it out of you too. But in fact, go do it go practice it on the sideline. Somebody else come in. I don't know if you have a preference of type of coaching style, but I can go. The Eberflus style didn't bother me, but but obviously it didn't work. It didn't get the results. Right. It didn't get the results. So maybe this time we get the results because I know Ben Johnson, he comes with the name and people are going to respect it. They don't respect the coaching hard. Where are you at with that?
I don't have a problem with Eberflus' style as long as it resonates with the players. But the other thing was several players said they weren't being coached hard enough. Well, that is concerning because nobody in any facet of society exactly likes authority. I mean, nobody wants to be told what to do. You understand it's a necessity, but kids don't like parents laying down the law. Workers don't like upper management laying down the law, but you understand it's a necessity. It's a necessary evil. So when somebody's saying I'm not being coached hard enough, that is red flag. So with Ben Johnson, I get it. You got 90 minutes. You got to make every single minute counts, every single rep, because it's early in training camp. It's July 27th, but next month you'll be game planning for the Vikings. I mean, you'll be in what day is the Monday night game? September what? Do you know offhand?
I think that would be
September 8th.
September 8th.
So we're around 40 days, 40 some odd days from playing. Every day has to count. Every rep has to matter because the Vikings are going to be ready. One thing we know about Kevin O'Connell, he's going to prepare that team. That is a hell of a coach.
Yeah, he's got the resume. He got your boy Darnold up to speed. You definitely expect him to get JJ McCarthy up to speed. In fact, you expect that he was coaching JJ McCarthy all through last season. extensive film review, something that Caleb claims that he didn't get. What's with Kirk Cousins? Kirk Cousins had
Yeah.
his best
Yeah,
season
he did.
with Kevin O'Connell. So we're not going to take that. You're
At
taking that
all.
matchup lightly. And it's under what? It's about 40
Yeah.
days until then. It's 40 days until then. So we definitely, whatever works, we got to drill that in because we can't take our opponent lightly, even though the Vikings are starting a what quote unquote rookie quarterback, we expect him to be the best version of a rookie quarterback that you can imagine, just because
He's
of
had a year of training camp.
the surrounding circumstances.
Yeah. He's essentially a rookie on the field, but he's in his second year. He's in his second training camp. And most importantly for him, he's in the second training camp under the same offense. And everybody that's around him, the Vikings did get a couple new upgrades to the offensive line, but the receivers, the tight end, these guys are veterans in this offense. Aaron Jones, these guys have been there 2-3 years. So yeah, you look at this. McCarthy's a young guy, essentially a rookie, but he's not a rookie. He hasn't had any NFL regular season game experience, but he's put on the Vikings uniform. He's played in a preseason game. He's went through training camp. Remember last year he battled for the number 1 spot. So this isn't like a guy coming in who didn't get reps last year. He was in a fight for the starting spot. In fact, he might have beat Darnold out had he not got hurt.
That's exactly where they were trending towards, right? If he not got hurt, it was expected that McCarthy was going to be the QB1 at some point. But I don't care. We got about 40 days until Bears start the season 1-0. Because I expect the Bears to be ready. I expect them to exit camp with a nostril full of that pure gray Colombian that they found in that tree, and we're going to rip the heads off of every purple motherfucker at the Soldier Field.
You know what it's like when you get that grade A cocaine. You know what it's like when you get the bad cocaine. You guys know. You guys aren't children. You know how that good cocaine makes you feel. Euphoric. Or so I've heard.
We're going to piss euphoria all over the Vikings. What are you looking to see second week of camp?
I'm looking to see the offense be more cohesive. I hope we get to see Luther Burden on the field. That would be a big boost to have all of our weapons out there. I want to see Braxton out there too. I am excited about Ozzy Trapillo, but I think there's a certain amount of comfort if you got a veteran out there protecting Caleb's blind side. So I'm looking to see the offense get a little bit more cohesive. I'm looking forward to seeing a lot more of the training camp battles. That's what I'm looking forward to in week 2.
The only thing I want to see is Luther Burden. I just want to see him on the field.
Are there any updates to when he's supposed to get on the field, or are we still?
If we started the episode talking about Jalen Johnson being week to week, and we using our decoder rings to figure out what that really means. If you dig a little deeper into the checks mix box, you get another decoder ring. Maybe figure out what they're saying about Luther Burden. They're calling him day to day. He's been hurt for 2 months. So
there's been guys that have returned from surgery within 2 months. So what is it? What is exactly hurt? I've heard hamstring. It sounded like it was the groin or abdomen when he initially. This is the same injury from the rookie mini camp, the OTAs, right, where he went for a deep pass, made a catch, and went down in the heat. This is the same injury, right? This isn't anything new, right?
No, it's the same one. Again, during training camp, you don't have to tell the truth.
Something
the Bears like the full truth about injuries.
Something the Bears love to embrace, not telling the truth.
Yeah, that is up the Bears' alley. So we got to take it with a grain of salt.
Did you say drain the swamp?
No, no, Q. Calm down. I said take it with a grain of salt.
Okay. Yeah. Speaking of politicians, the Bears are doing their best politician impersonation, where we don't get the full transparency of any of these issues. Give me 4 wins and all is forgiven. But in the meantime, I do wish we knew exactly about Luther Burden and Jalen Johnson. I understand that injuries and timelines can be murky, but I'm sure they know more than what they're telling us.
Of course. That's all the thing I want to see second week. I want to see Luther Burden on the field, starting to get some actual on the field work. Because not only was he the Bears' highest second round draft pick, not only do we expect him to, perform a lot, to be involved into this offense this season, but he took it on the chin, dropping to the second round. He's been doing a lot of promises on Twitter, on
Threatening of
social
his
media about
teams,
what he's
yeah.
going to do, how he's going to show out. Yeah, I love that for him. I want him to do it because it's for the home team, right? I want him to do that. I want him to have that type of glow up, Randy Moss style. But you can't do that,
No.
Just sit on the sideline. You can't do that just from doing film study. You got to get out there and callous the body, get a lather going. And is no better opposition to get that lather going against the Bears defense. Even if it's in small bursts, spurts against the Bears defense, not against the big D, the small D. Speaking of small D's, did you see South Park?
Great transition.
Speaking of small D's and
I
politicians,
definitely
did you
got to
see
check
South
that out
Park?
because I got to see why my man's is so mad. I mean, it's a TV show, bro. I can't believe that he really is about to crash out over a small wee depiction. Man, it's a funny time to be an American.
Thanks for listening to this latest episode from the Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan Channel. Don't matter if you listen to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or watch it on Twitch or YouTube. Make sure you like, subscribe, share with a friend, hit the notification bell so you never miss a drop. And to all the guys from Chicago, we say 3 things. Bear down, go Cubs go, and sell the team, Jerry.